This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our asses off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
But an 8.6% drop in cereal sales. Crocs pulled its entire financial forecast. Heineken says people are drinking less. And even global giants like Nestle are seeing sales fall across the board. And what's scary about this, it's not about cutting luxuries. People are walking away from everyday items. Candy, snacks, fast food, takeout. Last Saturday, I went for lunch at a popular restaurant. Usually packed at noon, we expected a wait. Instead, we were just a handful of people there. Because consumers are cutting back hardest on items that bring joy. Chips, chocolate, going out to dinner. Not because they want to, because simply they don't have the fucking money.
What's up YouTube family, welcome back to my space. This is Evans Rayola. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to watch today's episode. I do not take your support for granted. If you haven't subscribed, kindly do consider subscribing to this channel for amazing news. So guys, on today's episode we want to talk about the high cost of living in USA. I've seen people break down as they explain how the cost of living is getting unbearable in America. You know, when you talk about housing is very high. The cost of electricity, the cost of groceries are skyrocketing. You know, there are high tariffs in America and it's just becoming unbearable as days goes by. So guys, I want to attach a series of videos right here so that you may see Americans complaining about the high cost of living. Then once the series of videos are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this together, family.
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our asses off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
What am I doing wrong? I work every day and I'm still broke. Like, I have a decent job, I make some decent money, but I live out here in Cali. Like, bro, as soon as I get paid, I have all these bills stacked up, bro, that shit wipes me clean. Like, fuck, I got no money left over. Making $100,000 a year doesn't get you anywhere nowadays.
Hi guys, I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left on my account. So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago. And I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews. And still nothing. Like, what the f is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to wait.
Y'all, I just went today and got my driver's license renewed, my car tags renewed, picked up 2 prescriptions, and got a few groceries. To say that I'm completely broke now is an understatement. So I'm going to have to go home and start selling off my furniture to be able to live the rest of the month. I mean, that's just, it's unbelievable. And my heart hurts today. truly hurts for people who are not able. And we're living in some rough times, really rough times. And we need to be praying for all those around us who are not as fortunate as we are to be able to do the things that we need to do. I'm not talking about extras. I'm not talking about going on vacation and doing fun things. I'm talking about living, taking care of your vehicle if you can even afford a vehicle, putting groceries on the table, buying medicine, the things you have to do. It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, it's a really sad thing here. You know, we have a generation that is right now trying to survive in the US, and they're doing it at a time that it is so difficult with the rising costs. I really do feel for the younger generation and even for the older generation. I mean, you're hearing the stories here that it's just so difficult right now. You go and do a few things and it's like your bank account is empty, and that is the reality. Money goes by so quickly, and the reason why is because primarily, in my opinion, wages have not kept up here in the US. That's a fact. And also the cost of everything has gone up so dramatically that right now it's just not lining up. It's really, really, really difficult to make ends meet. And you do have to start learning to do with less. Take out the luxuries in life, take out the unnecessary vacations, the unnecessary spending, take out the wants, and really just focus on the needs. And even just by getting the needs, purchasing the needs, taking care of your needs, even that really starts to draw people broke. And I'm seeing more and more that people are having a harder time to cope with this because it's getting too stressful. And even though this has been going on for years now, and if the pot continues to boil, I really believe things are just going to get a lot worse because people are already living on the edge, and you already can not afford something extra to happen or something extra to come up without just kind of going in the hole. So that's why I've been a proponent of just living as minimally as possible for years now, being as debt-free as possible and living frugally, because look at where we are today. Look at what's going on in the world.
Bro, the cost of living is insane right now. Like, what are we doing? I swear before COVID in my area, $20 an hour was like, you balling, you good. Now, people that making $20 an hour, I'm like, man, how are they surviving? Like, this is insane. Fast food places are paying $20 an hour now. So $20 an hour is the new $10 an hour. Obviously, all of this is relative to where you live. So my $20 an hour, where I live in Northern Virginia, may be your $16 an hour, or maybe your $30 an hour. It all really depends on where you live. Like, I can't be the only one that sees this stuff. Like, I can't be the only one that understands what's going on. And it honestly worries me that there's some people out there that make less than that. Like, think about the people out there that's making minimum wage. Like, probably have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make up for, you know, a livable income. It's insane.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k, because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a 1-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, that car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food, because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75 grand a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, Don's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to... There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
Why is no one talking about how serious the cost of living actually is? So we pay like a really cheap amount of rent compared to like all the other rent I see. And we're a family of 6. We pay $9.50 rent. That's cheap. We're in Missouri. It's like not some nice new place or anything. It was actually built in 1890. My husband is working 3 jobs right now. We buy absolutely nothing. Nothing that we don't need. And we actually go without a lot of things that we actually do need. I feel like if you're able to do anything that's not just surviving, then you got it good. I feel so sad that I didn't appreciate the times where we were able to actually have fun at this point. So much has changed in the past few years. Like, what? I just really, really want to know. How is everyone surviving? Is everyone working like 24/7? Because that's what my husband does. And I'm just home with my little kids all the time. It's kind of like depressing that we're never together as a family. So I don't know. I hope one day we can be, but it sucks.
People are broke, and now there's proof showing up in the numbers. Kellogg's reported an 8.6% drop in cereal sales. Crocs pulled its entire financial forecast. Heineken says people are drinking less. And even global giants like Nestle are seeing sales fall across the board. And what's scary about this, it's not about cutting luxuries. People are walking away from everyday items. Candy, snacks, fast food, takeout. Last Saturday, I went for lunch at a popular restaurant. Usually packed at noon, we expected a wait. Instead, we were just a handful of people there. Because consumers are cutting back hardest on items that bring joy. Chips, chocolate, going out to dinner. Not because they want to, because simply they don't have the fucking money. And companies know it. Forecasts are being pulled. Behind the scenes, they see the truth. Demand just isn't slowing. It's fucking collapsing. After 5 brutal years, Americans are barely hanging on, and now the administration slaps tariffs on top of it. It's like throwing gasoline on an already burning house. These families are one missed paycheck away from financial collapse. Americans aren't tightening belts anymore. They've run out of fucking notches.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living on the average American salary? I just watched a TikTok of a teacher who makes a teacher's salary. I don't know what state she's in, so I don't know how much she makes, but her 1-bedroom apartment is $2,000. And when she spends $2,000 on that 1-bedroom apartment, it doesn't even come with a washer and dryer. So she has to go pay an additional $2 every time she wants to use their washer and dryer. Okay, like, how does that leave her any extra money to spend? And then she said she had a $400 car payment, which some people were bashing her on that. But in today's economy with interest rates, that's really not that bad. And I'm sure she needs a dependable car. So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment. You got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. Like, I don't understand how people are affording life right now, and it really makes me sad for some people. You have people who are like her. She's single, she has her own salary, or families where it just works out best for them for the mother to stay home. And if the father is just making an average American salary, how are they affording life without going in a bunch of debt? This lady who's a teacher started crying because she said she realizes on her salary and where she lives, she will actually end up in more debt. then like she will just continue to accrue more debt and more debt and more debt because her salary is not matching the cost of living. And what's sad is I've seen people be like, just spend less. Listen guys, the cost of living is rising and our salaries are stagnant, okay? So there's not just spend less. That's not the problem here. The problem is the cost of living is outrageous, and minimum wage in some states is still $7.25. Teachers in some states are still paid a ridiculously low salary even though their job is super important. I don't know what we can do about this, but I'm just going on a rant because it really, really pisses me off.
More and more Americans are becoming frustrated over the insane grocery prices in 2025, and things are about to get worse because according to in May, this is going to be a massive problem because right now everything is just so much more expensive. Just look at this. Look at the amount of food this person is getting for $400. That is insane. When we are spending a week's paycheck on just food, that is outright insane. And I understand why so many Americans are frustrated about the current cost of living here in the United States. Well, we're going to go over this. We're going to talk about what's happening. I'm going to show you what prices were just a month ago versus what they are right now. The amount of money that Americans spend on food every single month is going up. And it's not just because of tariffs. Everybody wants to blame all this stuff on tariffs, that the price of aluminum is causing grocery prices to go up. Maybe for canned goods, but not for things in a box. And this is turning into a massive issue. Again, I want to play this clip for you. This is a grocery haul from Walmart. They spent $400 on items from Walmart. That's Gatorade, that's chips, right? It just goes on and on. That's ridiculous. And you know how bad it's getting? Well, look at this right here. When you are taking out a loan for basic needs, food, gas, daily essentials like toothpaste, shampoo, that's insane. This is why Americans are so frustrated. And this is why some are turning to illegal activity. And this is just crazy that we are now seeing thefts in grocery stores rise. Target is going to be taking out self-checkout stands because people keep on pretty much skipping items. They'll take 2 items to the register. They will scan one, which is usually the cheaper one. They scan it, and they put the other item in their cart. They go back and they pick up some more items. They scan the cheaper item and put the more expensive item in their cart. This is crazy, but Target knows this is going on, and so now they're like, we're going to get rid of all of our self-checkout scanners. Yeah, it's turning into an issue, but it's not just your average person. It's not just your average worker.
Family, the US is on a verge of a very, very huge downfall. You can always tell that a downfall is coming when the cost of living is becoming unbearable for such a big country like the USA. Right now, the government of the US has been going through a lot. With the leadership of Donald J. Trump, there's been a lot of complaints, about his rule, about his presidency, about the decisions he's making. Apart from just trying to sort the issues with the cost of living, there's been a lot of problems in the US. There's been a lot of mass deportations. There's been a lot of ICE raids, in houses that also host US citizens. There's been just a lot going around in the US, and there's been constant complaints. There's also been a lot of people who've gone out to the street to just share their grievances, tell the government of the day that things are not working. We've seen Americans survive in storage units because we all know that having an apartment right now in the US is very, very difficult. We've had a lady speak about paying $2,000 for a 1-bedroom per month, and paying that $2,000 does not come with the washer and dryer. She has to pay an extra $2 for each time she decides to use these other facilities. Americans are left with nothing in their pockets. The cost of living is skyrocketing while their salaries are constant. So it's becoming more and more difficult as days goes by. That's why people have started to sort to live in storage units, and the government is arresting people who are found in these storage units. You know, the storage units are not safe. Number one, they do not have ventilation, but now that's the only option that the average earning American, you know, can survive with. Things are becoming unbearable. Things are becoming very, very expensive. You know, the storage units, people cannot get access to clean toilet, you know, ventilation, water, clean water, you know. But now, people do not have options. When we look at the cost of groceries, when you look at shopping, you know, when somebody goes out for a shopping haul, when you look at what they've spent and what they are having, it's so saddening. And you're seeing more and more Americans take it on TikTok to just explain themselves and say that, it's becoming more and more difficult. You know, things are becoming more difficult as days goes by, and there is no any solution that can solve this problem. You know, the cost of groceries, these are things that you must use on a daily. You know, you must eat. The cost of foodstuffs are very, very high. You know, for an average American, for an average earning American, the cost of living is skyrocketing every day while the salaries are still constant. Some other things that people have complained about is that they're actually going into a lot of debt. You know, when the cost of living is high and your salaries maintain, what you sought for is take loans in banks. Call your friends and family, ask them for money, people who are also struggling. So Americans are getting into more and more debt as days goes by, you know, and this is instead affecting their mental well-being, because when you cannot earn and be able to sort your bills well and be able to remain with surplus, slowly by slowly you start being stressed up. Because how do you work each and every time? You work even overtime but cannot be able to pay for your bills. Man, it's becoming crazy, and some people are even sorting for even leaving America. The American dream is no more. You know, if you went to America because of the American dream, right now it's just becoming no more. Many people come from Africa. Many people come from other nations in the world just to go and achieve that American dream. For them to go and get that opportunity that would in turn change their life. But right now, that is not the story in the US. Things are becoming different. You know, things are becoming very, very different, because tell me why you'd pay for a house for $2,000, a one-bedroom house that does not have all facilities that you may need for you to be comfortable in a home. Guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this issue. You know, let me know of your experience right now in the US. Let me know in the comment section. Let us create a conversation and be able to learn together. From the comment section, somebody can mention how he or she survives, where they found a cheaper apartment in a certain state. That way we can be able to help each other from the comment section and get to see how we can survive during this crazy time. Guys, like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'll be very, very grateful. Last but not least, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and guys, I can never do this without your support. Thank you, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.